Begin log, Selene Shepherd 1. Log. I can remember when the only logs I knew of were in the forest near our home. Where can I begin? It's been so long. I can barely remember the steps that were taken to safeguard my life, as someone once put it. All I remember back then are fragments of emotions, and even they feel like someone else's. The Malkavian, my life, the rosary, Zoe. My old life, if you can call what kindred have a life, ended with something I never thought would happen. They let me see Zoe. It meant so much. Zoe, where are you? I'm sorry. It hurts every time I think of Zoe now, but more about that later. After that, Selene Lieselore de Vries ceased to be, or ceased to matter. I no longer remember. My saviors, not knowing how best to rewrite my life, staked me. No, it doesn't kill us, but still hurts my heart, especially since her. Next I remember I woke up when somebody called my name, even though it seemed right at the time. It took me a while to realize what happened. First someone called me Shepherd. Selene Shepherd. When I looked in the mirror, it wasn't quite me staring back. Oh, they were my piercing red eyes that had helped me many times to get what I wanted. My red lips, like Vitea and fire. My hair was all red now. It didn't bother me, it looked good. But I was taller, again, not a problem. Height is good. But I had aged. How is that even possible? We kindred don't age. It was explained to me that it was done for my safety, to hide me from my enemies. I don't remember them. Selene Shepherd was born on April the 11th, 2154, on Mindor in the Attican Traverse. Places still alien to me, though they are more beautiful than Amsterdam, and that mattered more than it should have. Whoever remade me couldn't undo Cain's curse that we Toreador are obsessed by true beauty, though they did somehow plant a hypnotic suggestion in my head. When Toreador see the kind of beauty I have seen, they can be frozen forever, but when someone says shepherd, then it's like a liberating thaw comes over me, and I'm back in the situation at hand. I hate being hypnotized, but I thank whoever did that to me. I was told I was in the Alliance military, which I enlisted in after being saved from slavers who slaughtered my family and friends. At that point, even though I don't remember, it bothers me more than it should have. What made me laugh, though, was that I was some medal-gifted hero who saved many under impossible odds, though the odds of how I got here are certainly impossible. But that's nothing compared to what happened after that. Once I had adjusted to the fact that I was in the future, things flowed smoother. I was assigned to a shakedown of a revolutionary new spaceship called the Normandy. I remember when Normandy was just a place in France, but this Normandy put the majesty of France to shame. For a collection of parts and people, it was a thing of beauty, and I liked the color. The Normandy was a new step for humanity, thanks in some part to the Council, the future inter-system Camarilla, though the 4 races involved are a little more varied than back on Earth. And as if part of my shepherd programming, I felt resentful towards them. Though them not being kindred may have also had something to do with it. I was thankfully thought I could do things how I wanted to, within reason. I had to keep my humanity, after all. Even in space the beast can take you. You would have, though, being space kindred would be a liability, but when Cain was cursed, it was on Earth, so the first time I looked at pure starlight, and didn't die as I stepped under an alien sun, then such worries soon departed me. The only other rules I was given initially to my disappointment, but made sense if I wanted to keep living, or that I couldn't turn anyone. Fangs would have looked nice in some hair, though. I also couldn't feed as I used to, unless they deserved it, and only if others weren't conscious, especially given my fangs couldn't be seen by anyone. Another mystery, but I got used to that fast. But apart from that, the universe was Selene Shepherd's oyster, and I do like oysters. Begin log, Selene Shepherd 2. Where was I? Oh, yes, the Normandy. I was assigned to it, a big project. We were meant to take a test flight to a colony named Eden Prime, a safe human startup that was anything but perfection, but nobody deserved what happened to them. It was a massacre in progress when we arrived. I've seen and caused pain in others before. I am kindred after all, but what happened was so wrong. I went down to try and make sense of the situation, flanked by two guys, Caden, who I'll talk about later, and someone named Jenkins, I think. Didn't have time to care about him. Idiot was dead before I'd become annoyed by his bravado. Anyway, where was I again? As I said, cause pain, all in fun, as a kindred, but outside of turning humans or playing with them occasionally, we kindred adhered to the masquerade. Easy way to stay alive. We never messed with the dead. Me and Caden met a girl named Ashley. Never liked her, whiny, though she could kill well enough. And we watched what is still one of the most chilling moments I've ever seen. These two robots were carrying a human. I hoped they were dead. And they impaled them on this huge spike that shot through their bodies like a stake. And if that wasn't bad enough, when we saw the stake retract, the body had become this cybernetic zombie that ran at us. We kept shooting it and shooting it. I killed so many of them, but it still bothers me that anyone could do that, even to a kindred, if they wanted to. Sorry, kindred shouldn't care about that sort of thing, but I've never been right about things through the chest since the Malkavian. We eventually reached the main reason why this whole thing on Eden Prime really mattered, the beacon, though it was more like a spooky obelisk. There was an important death, seemed important at the time, but only because of who did the killing. Saren. Didn't know then how much I would hate that name. Anyway, he got the beacon first, and to think all the death he caused was because of it. Caden got too close to it, and it was as if it was alive and wanted him, drawing him toward its cold surface. I instinctively reacted, pushed him out of its clutches. Caden was worth sparing, I thought, but then the beacon grabbed me, and it was like I was back with the Malkavian again. The beacon invaded my mind, forced so many pictures into it, so fast. I thought my head was gonna explode. It would have been a stupid way for me to die, I thought, and then it all went black. The next thing I remember feeling was that I wasn't dead, and that was an enormous relief, I can tell you. I was back on the Normandy, being checked out by Dr. Chakwas, who at first I was unnerved by, because I thought my lack of heartbeat might blow my status as a human in the eyes of these uninformed of my status as a kindred. But it turned out she was very much informed, probably assigned to the Normandy by whoever set everything up. So she always played her role well for the others on board. I liked her. We were ordered to go to the Citadel, which I thought would be just some grand building on some planet or another. But when I saw what the Citadel was, and I became very glad of my inbuilt Canada Curse-free card, it was truly beautiful, and the stars and everything around it made it look like some ultimate being had split open a perfect tube and found even greater perfection. It was truly massive and awe-inspiring, and we made to Normandy, and all of us looked so insignificant. We then got to be close enough to touch it. The universe is an amazing place, but it would have to wait, because first came the Citadel and the Council.